Press the bell icon on the YouTube app to never miss a video from News Laundry.
Welcome to News Laundry Chhota Hafta. For the full episode, subscribe because it is behind the paywall and only subscribers get access to uncut, complete content. News Laundry Hafta is our weekly wrap of all that made the news, all that didn't, and all that should have and all that shouldn't have. We agree, we disagree, we critique, and occasionally we beat each other up. But it's all good fun. Subscribe.
This is a News Laundry podcast and you're listening to NL Hafta.
Hello everyone. I am Meghnad. Yes, I'm Meghnad. And This is a great Friday. And I am here hosting this episode of Hafta for no reason. Because Abhinandan is off to
Rwanda.
Africa. Yes, he's in Rwanda. Yeah. Why is he there exactly?
Conference.
For a conference.
ORF conference.
Oh,
Saying important
This is the
things.
second time he has gone to Africa. Like recently.
Yeah, he was in Morocco and now he's in Rwanda.
Visa ka full utilization. That's great. So we have a few people with us. Nobody special joining except for me. So we have Manisha Pande.
Hello.
Our award-winning journalist.
That award is too old now. I think we should just...
मेरे को भी बोल दो award winning. कितने 20 साल के
4 साल पहला award, now it's nullified.
You need a new identity, no?
I need a new identity.
Yeah.
Or new award.
The star of nuisance.
Yeah, star of nuisance, our in-house raging star, of nuisance, Manisha. We have editor-in-chief, Madhu Trehan. Award-winning journalist, Madhu Trehan.
Awards have been gathering dust.
Well,
My father used to say, and fathering dust.
how many awards did you win?
5,
Till
6.
date in
5, 6.
life?
Yeah, 5, 6.
5-6 awards. Like you've lost count basically.
Well, one doesn't, at this age, one doesn't really pay attention to it unless you're a real loser. Oh, मुझे उस दिन award मिला, उस साल में award मिला था.
You don't clean them, it seems, because you
don't
just said
shine
they're
them?
gathering dust.
No. I do not look at them.
Then we have our in-house genius, super smart person.
Anand Vardhan.
He's surprised. He was looking as if we have Anand. Hi, Anand.
No, he's taking it for granted. He's not surprised.
Yeah,
He should.
just looked at me shocked. He's like, I'm
but
smart.
that's a collection of abuses. So,
That's a collection of abuses? No, not at all. He means it seriously.
Intellectual.
so intellectual
Intellectual is I wouldn't like to be called an intellectual. That kinds of,
In-house
and
genius
that's creepy.
And genius is also very
No, genius is good.
No, it is very loosely used. Genius,
Yeah, I use it when I'm calling someone a fool on Twitter.
Yeah, no.
Okay, genius.
Genius.
Yeah. You also use genius to sort of...
Genius is
Whenever someone's written something really dumb, I say, thanks, genius. That's it.
No, genius should be used only for
noticed?
very few people. And
I don't abuse.
None of us are near that by thousands of miles.
Einstein was a genius.
वो तो बाद में उनको पता चला when he was alive, people used to make fun of him.
Then we have our veteran journalist, managing editor, Raman Kirpal.
Also
Hello,
an
sir.
award winner.
Also an award winner. Too many awards.
Get on with the substance here. You're getting carried away with the introductions.
Okay, so basically Madhu is going to coach me on how to host Hafta as well.
And certainly not like this, because
Certainly
your
not.
introduction has been like those events, government events, that I will now introduce the person who will introduce the VIP, who will then introduce the chief guest of honor, who will then introduce the prize giver, who will then introduce the thanks of vote person, who will then stop. Carry on now.
Okay.
Let's get
serious. We've had a lot of
tight.
We've had a lot of things happening last
Yeah.
week, and
That's true.
we will just directly dive into like a few things. So first thing we will have to discuss, which happened today, and I should tell the listeners that we are recording, I think, 2 hours after the budget was announced. So whatever discussions we have on the budget will be to a large extent surface level, because even I haven't really gone into the documents yet, and I think no really media house has put out any detailed analysis. But this is basically based on whatever we have seen, whatever speeches we have heard. So we will give our initial reactions to the budget. Let's put it that way.
And maybe I could read the headlines first of the week.
Quickly.
Very quickly, very sharply. So, the budget was announced and we'll discuss that later. Rahul Gandhi has finally resigned as Congress president. He wrote a very heartfelt letter. Mumbai rains have had like some terrible stories coming in from Maharashtra. There was a wall collapse in Mumbai and in Pune. A lot of migrant laborers have lost their lives. There was a really terrible case of 2 men in an SUV also who drowned. So Mumbai is just... and this was within like I think the first spell of monsoon that we've had. The death toll is almost 30. Amit Shah said in Parliament that President's rule in J&K will be extended, and he said that he has no option and the elections will be held sometime later in the year. There was a big story in Delhi in Chandni Chowk where there were a lot of communal tensions. There was a mob of Muslims who vandalized a temple, a 100-year-old Durga temple in Chandni Chowk. Before this incident, there was supposed to have been a fight between two people that led to an escalation. The police was called and then the mob came in. And the situation is quite calm now, but Delhi saw a bit of, it was a bit tense for a while. But I do think the Delhi police handled this case really well. So we can talk about that later. And there was this one news in the beginning of the week that caught a lot of attention. Zaira Wasim's open letter where she explained why she's quit Bollywood. She said that it's come in the way of her religion. I think this is interesting. We should discuss this too. And Vijay Mallya has been allowed to appeal against a lower court. There was a hearing in the UK early this week. And as always, Vijay Mallya was just, when journalists came to him and said, how are you feeling? He's like, this is not a cricket match. I can't tell you how I feel. And then he said, why is the government not taking money? You get on with your life, let me get on with my life. Like, that's
he
nice.
keeps saying that he has offered money to the government, but they're not taking it.
Yeah.
The deal was nearly done before he left. And the quibble was over 100 crores. So he decided against it. He was supposed to pay 500. He was bargaining for 4. So if he'd given that 100 crore, it would be over for him.
And he keeps saying that again and again whenever.
Yeah, but then it was his fault for taking that decision and then taking off. And now he's got a lifetime of this going on.
There's also been a little bit of a controversy over plagiarism on Mahua Mitra's speech, so maybe we can discuss a bit of that also, whether we think that was plagiarism or not.
One more interesting thing that I think we should also discuss is that the government has clearly now said that the sedition law will not be scrapped. In Rajya Sabha, they gave a response to a question. So we should, I think, also discuss that. Anything else?
No, let's start with the budget.
Let's start with the budget. But before we get into the budget, I have an announcement. As you all know that we are hosting for the third time the Media Rumble, this time in Delhi. It's on the August 2nd and 3rd at India Habitat Center. So we have some very special speakers coming in, which includes Gulzar, there is Milind Khandekar, Swara Bhaskar, there is Prakash Raj, there's Shekhar Gupta. And this would be an event worth attending, and I can assure you because I have been to 2 of them now. So please do register and attend if you are interested in knowing more about the media business, how it's going, how it's evolving, how it's growing, and also you get to network with a lot of people there. And if you are someone who wants to do some deep networking, you can also buy delegate passes where you get access to it's sort of like a green room. You get access to green room where there is infinite snacks flowing and a giant screen promoting News Laundry all the time. So it's a great place.
And you meet all the speakers.
Yes,
you meet all
of
the
course.
speakers.
It's a green room, so you meet speakers and
if you're a subscriber, it's free.
Yes, if
not
you're
the
a
delegate
subscriber,
pass, but the attendance.
Not the delegate pass. If you're a subscriber, you get free entry. So please come to Delhi if you are from outside, and please attend the Media Rumble. Okay, let's get on with the discussions. So budget, guys, budget, right? Raman sir, you want to start with budget? What do you feel?
See, announcement, I don't see much, something very significant. But the vision-wise, I think is the kind of announcements that have been made is an open admission that in the past 5 years, the FDI has come down tremendously. So even not that FDI was doing very well during the Congress government, but I remember in 2014 there was very specific statements were given about investments in the railway sector. Railway is the biggest infrastructure sector where on your wagon, those kind of schemes they had come up with, and surprisingly not even a single penny of FDI has come into the railways. Okay, not even a single penny. So that is something very big, but there is a realization by this government, and and with realization, they have made some announcements. So maybe.
So there is this one section from the FDI which specifically was in the speech, which says, she said that the global FDIs have fallen from $1.3 trillion to $1.5 trillion, but inflows in India remained strong at $54 billion. That's a growth of 6%. That is from the budget. But if the global FDI rates are actually just investment is falling, then if India is showing a growth, then that points to something good, I guess.
No, I
think he's playing with statistics, really.
Maybe, yes. That's also a thing, yeah.
See, with the FDI coming in, the other indicators also go up, like say employment and your spending capacity. But right now, I think for the past 4 years, the automobile is down the dumps.
Yeah.
Even the infrastructure is bad. Why? Because the JCB company is doing really bad. They have also shunted out people in the past 4 months. So their growth is all into minus. So looking at I think I found this the significant part of it. Second, I think is the whether they are going to strengthen the banking system. After these NPAs,
right?
The banking sector again is not able to pump in money.
Right.
So they are not able to pump in money. So that is why the growth directly impacts the growth.
Right. There was a significant amount spent on that part, which we will come to after
this is what confuses me, that we have failing banks, largely responsible for giving out loans to people who defaulted in massive amounts, and action has been taken against some of those bankers who did give those loans under dubious circumstances, obviously possibly taking bribes to give those kind of massive loans with no hope of recovery. So with the list of defaulters being so huge and the amount being so huge, to then give 70,000 crores to public sector banks makes me wonder that is this now another temptation for the banks to start giving out big loans to create a new list of defaulters where the money will not come back.
Right. But this is exactly 70,000 crore is only the latest recapitalization, they call it. I just think it's a bailout. So
it's a bailout.
It's a bailout.
Even if it's a bailout, even if it's a bailout in technical terms, bailout may be okay, but I'm looking at beyond that. That is this a green light then to create more of the worst, the bad system that already exists?
Exactly.
There should have been some checks and balances also, or maybe there are, I don't know.
That's what
she has not announced the details of anything, in fact.
That's what they are promising now, that they are going to have checks and balances, but they want to bail out the banks.
But it's really
weird.
Sector.
There was third factor, which is again very important, is the social welfare schemes.
Yeah.
In the past, Ayushman is the latest. Okay, it's not even, I think, 8 months old or 9 months old. So the amount which was allocated, which was promised, the actual money wasn't, given, wasn't disbursed. So they didn't have money for that. So even the social welfare schemes, there is a cut because of the poor finances. So there's a cut on that.
Anand?
Okay, so I don't have the expertise to comment on the specifics in detail, but just a few general points. First is that this is the first budget of a new government, so it would be a consolidating budget. It has least pressure of populist measures.
Right.
And it could be fairly compared to 2014 budget, when a framework was laid out for combining welfareism with economic reforms. By mid of the term, that was revised because of electoral factors as well as some backlash from policymakers also, as well as people in general. But I think it has to also be seen in sync with the economic survey which came yesterday, which as Krishnamurthy Subramaniam, the chief economic advisor, said that the blueprint has to be of blue sky view.
Right.
So blue sky view, that open-ended and very optimistic and about things, and also going for different gears. So gears in means looking at economy as an integrated component rather than inside as different parts like unemployment or investment or demand. So they are basically seeing it with ripple effect, right, that one would affect other. Now, in one of the, despite an average economic performance in their last term, they were beneficiary of keeping inflation low.
Yeah.
So
also there was the oil factor.
They
got a lot of money from oil.
Whatever means the regions being, but that one factor that could seriously affect the public perceptions about a government's economic performance, right, that they kept in control.
So we will move on to Rahul Gandhi's resignation.
Oh,
now.
I think Shiva Roor's tweet was the best.
Okay, tell me.
So he said Rahul Gandhi resigns, and he put that clip of Rahul Gandhi in Parliament after he gave Modi the hug. He winks.
Winks.
So he put the wink.
Republic I was watching, and they were constantly playing this clip while they were dissing Rahul Gandhi. They were like, it was like just this wig clip and him going like some.
And
places.
another thing that I have to. Also, Priyanka tweets in response to his resignation.
You're a courageous man.
Yeah, I mean,
no one's more courageous.
Excuse me, 1 second. She says, few have the courage that you do at Rahul Gandhi. Deepest respect for your decision. Please tell me one thing. Courage. Courage is something that comes into play when you're afraid of something and you say, I'm going to do it anyway. That's bravery. That's courage. What was he afraid of? Why do you need courage to resign? You don't need, like, very often somebody will say to me over the years that you really had courage to do this interview, really had courage to get that coup. And I'm puzzled because it really did not require courage. Yeah. It does not require courage to ask harsh questions. Right. You're just doing it.
Right.
If you're afraid of doing it and then you do it, then it requires courage. But for most issues in your life, you don't require courage. You're just doing it, especially if it's part of your job. So I don't understand how this family is talking about courage to resign. Please explain that. Somebody, Anand, will you explain why he needs courage to resign? Why does this family think that he needs courage to resign?
It's courage because he's giving up on a legacy.
पता नहीं समझाओ मुझे ये समझाने वाली बात है maybe Raman and Anand will have some explanation.
Okay. I think that is relative. We cannot put ourselves in his position. Of course he is privileged and he has inherited his leadership, but for his, maybe because his mother didn't resign and pass on the baton to his son, to her son. So
courage to stand up to your mother.
So her mother lacked it. Her mother lacked it while dealing with, say, Sitaram Kesri or something. So Sitaram Kesri or other non-Congress inheritors of presidency. So in that relative sense, see the limited point that maybe Priyanka was making is that owning accountability for the defeat, and that for her limited definition of courage was an act of bravery.
So in the lighter sense, I mean, despite a dynasty, despite belonging to a dynastic, dynasty family, so he decided to resign. So he resigned. So and the second thing, I think
it's like a king giving up a throne and going to sannyas. It's like, oh my God, so much courage. He left the throne.
I'm sorry, I miss it completely. I don't see it.
Congress was.
I don't see it.
Congress is Gandhi family's legacy, so he gives it up. So in simple terms. Second, I think somebody
thing, but
no, he's people, the accountability nobody talks about these days. I remember as I think 1992 when there was a scam. No, the other one in which
Harshad Mehta ka
the
scam.
BJP Jan Awala. So when the charge sheeted, this guy Advani was charge sheeted, he resigned. He said ki I will not come back till my name gets
clear. Yeah.
So people these days don't talk like this. So he at least he's owning up the defeat and he's resigning. So maybe that is why it is a courageful.
But what did you guys think?
Explanation is like saying the water is wet. So
No, because these days nobody
takes responsibility and gives up something.
So he took the responsibility. He stuck.
How could he not? It's so obvious.
No, the party, like the cronies.
I've always believed that he never wanted to be in this.
That's true.
In the first place.
Yeah, it's not.
I genuinely think even from the beginning. So I remember this when
he's not a bad guy, but he's in the wrong job.
When in 2014 they had that giant defeat, I remember him standing beside his mother and smiling and oh my God, so happy. This is the best day of my life.
Wiggly fingers waves.
Yeah. But what did you guys think of the letter?
The letter. Yeah, I think it was like absolute cringe. I thought it was like unnecessary. It was like 4 pages long. Very grandiose. It's like, oh my God, I'm the only savior in this universe. I've been standing up for ideas, but the people have rejected me.
No, I think more about the Congress now. I mean, after he goes away, he's not going away, by the way. The family is not going away anywhere.
But in their constitution, I believe in their Congress constitution, it means that if the president resigns, the next senior leader becomes interim, which makes it Vora.
That is true. No, that he's interim. So anyone else comes in.
I'll make myself vulnerable to be accused of being an ageist, but Vora can't find his way out of his
house
bedroom to Baba.
Absolutely. Yeah. He's 90 years old.
He's 90 years old. Yeah.
No, but I think Motilal Vora again is interim, but maybe they will find somebody very soon.
When ANI,
but whether that person is going to run
can't
Congress
they have a voting
without the family? I mean, if the family's influence on, if he's a puppet, just like
it's the same.
It's the same.
And even when
so that's the only thing. I mean, the Congress will never get revived. Yeah. That is
an important point.
That is the important.
There is this one incident that happened where ANI went to Motilal Vora and they asked him, "Oh, you are interim president." He's like, "I have no idea. They have not told me," which actually tells you how much of a communication problem there is within that party.
Congress constitution.
Yeah, but I mean, if
but they haven't announced
it. They've not announced it. Nobody told him that you are now by default president. Why don't they have an election? Yeah. Okay. So we will move on to the last thing which I'll take just quick comments on is the Chandni Chowk incident, because I think we should talk about that.
Why is News Laundry getting such abuse?
On the story, Manisha?
Well, it's only the second story where we've pointed out that Swaraj Op India
see the organizers Op India and Swaraj. They did a story just based on the statement of a woman
and
that my son has been abducted. She said in very certain terms. If someone is telling me, the mother is telling me that my son has been abducted, what will I do next as a reporter?
Check.
I'll go check, double check. Okay, I'll just get it confirmed, and anybody can say anything, but has the police taken cognizance of it? Is the police looking into this case? So we need a comment from them. No police comment, nothing. This mother, and they were crying headlines that the Hindu boy kidnapped by Muslim.
So where was he found?
He ran away. He ran away to Hardwar, and he was moving around with his
buddies,
Tayaji, his uncle, and then he came back.
Why didn't he tell his mother?
And he was 14-year-old. No, he had a phone. He said, I was so afraid that I switched my phone off. Then I lost my phone. So he didn't also inform anyone.
The mother also seemed, they're poor
what
people.
What about the Tayaji? Didn't he have a phone?
He had it. I don't know. I mean,
they should inform the mother. Taya should have informed.
Yeah. No, that is fine. I mean, but here,
this is okay. So to give a little context to our listeners as well. So essentially, this is about the Chandni Chowk incident where a temple was vandalized. A 100-year-old temple, Durga temple, was vandalized, where a unnamed mob of people went at night and just broke
there
like
were a
windows.
mob of Muslims, we know that, but we don't know who they were.
First it was unnamed because basically they went in and
a mob of Muslims, and it started over a parking dispute.
Yes.
What started it was two men fought over parking, the As Muhammad and Sanjay, I think. So first Aas got beaten up by Sanjay's friends. Then Aas said, "मैं भी दिखाता हूँ." He got 10 of his friends beat him up. The police took both of them to the station, and by then the situation was kind of resolved. But then there were rumors spread. What the police says, there were rumors that
lynching
a Muslim has been lynched. So then a Muslim mob descended onto the area. They attacked his home. They vandalized a temple. And then the police came in and situation sort of
But in this kind
down.
of situation, again, the way it was reported that the DT has been, they have destroyed the DT or something.
Yeah, I don't know if
No, the one
the
thing
temple was right adjacent to the house. So I don't
the
know.
one thing
Nothing had
that
happened to
sparked this one was the video that was circulating about like broken glasses in front of the but another one was this Kapil Mishra has put out a video on his Twitter, which is like this weird shot. First shot is these Muslim men like screaming, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Then it cuts to this other video which was already circulating around. So like a bunch of people basically shared that. Sudarshan and other people also started showing that Kapil Mishra video that, they later found out that it was a Muslim mob who actually did the incident. But then what followed, this abduction of a child, etc., was a immediate follow-up to this incident. And that is why it got so much attention. Because then...
So one of the stories that floated were that when the mob came to attack the temple and this gentleman's house, they also went into a Hindu household and picked up a 7-year-old boy.
Yeah.
Now that boy apparently wasn't picked up or kidnapped. He just left on his own. He was scared. And his story is a bit fuzzy. Even I'm not clear what he's scared of.
There
it's
are
still
holes.
not a very...
He's not able to tell. Why didn't he tell his parents?
How old was this?
But
14 years old.
17. But this story was then played up on Swaraj Op India, organizer as mob of men pick up Hindu boy, drag him out.
I don't know if this is worth a mention, but Nupur Sharma has written a detailed response to the News Laundry article.
Exactly, that's what was happening today.
So anyway, but besides that, I do think like Delhi police gets a lot of flack all the time, and from whatever reports I've read, I think they did a really good job of containing, because when our reporter went, what they both described, Basant and Veena, was that in the middle of the road there was one group chanting Jai Shri Ram, one group chanting Allahu Akbar, just wanting to go at each other. And the police really sort of stepped in and made sure that everything is calm. And the police has also been tweeting, like just this story where Sudarshan was going around interviewing people and kind of inciting passions over this so-called 17-year-old's abduction. The police was also tweeting in Sudarshan News. The police said that, boss, he's come back, stop doing this, They
have been actively tweeting under like news channels saying, oh, please don't spread these rumors.
And see, fine, stories develop. Maybe he disappeared for 2 days and you didn't know where he was and you just took the mother's word in the FIR for it. But then you write an update that he's back, and it wasn't an abduction.
It was an abduction.
FIR.
It was by the Tayaji.
By the Tayaji. Technically, yes.
The corrupting Tayaji. मैं दुनिया दिखाता हूँ.
Tayaji is the one responsible for all this. So the reason why News Laundry is getting trolled is because of this. Because apparently, they went on the 2nd when they just saw the FIR and reported it. Our reporters went on the 3rd, and by that time the child was back. So that was why they're like, what is this?
Okay, so see, there is something very boringly formulaic about how media covers these kind of confrontations. So it has become very formulaic in digital platforms where the angles that different platforms would take. But even in mainstream media, it is also formulaic to a degree. None of the Delhi editions of major, say, English newspapers like Times of India, Hindu or Indian Express. Now, I looked at their headline. It was about parking row. Now, suppose a mosque was desecrated. It would not have been that headline, that a parking row. So the cause and effect relationship, what was the cause of the effect, that changes, that has a role reversal depending on the kind of media house you are. So that is a formula, kind of pattern that is emerging. Second is that at different stages of developing a story, you have factual inaccuracies. You can have factual, because some don't have the advantage of the hindsight. Some may be agenda driven to just jump the gun and say anything, as may have happened in this case. So that happens. That can happen with every media house. Every media house does that at different points of time. So that is not. But one thing is that the reporting. So we should not throw the baby with the bathwater. I think Swaraj, to its credit, has done some stories in the past which none of the media houses did, and it went to ghettos, areas where even police dare not. So many IPS officers tell me, some of my students, that there are areas which our personnel don't want to go. And Swaraj, I think, has done some stories in the past which would not have been covered by, say, digital property. So within their agenda, with a lot of facts, there are millions of facts out there, and different people are covering different facts, that those facts would not have been covered. So, I mean, there are millions of people in India, millions of incidents. This is no incident. This is nothing.
Right.
If you just scan newspapers of local dailies, these things are regular occurrences. This is nothing very eventful or something.
सुन लिया अफ्रीका मुफत खोरों. Not to brag or anything, but News Laundry Hafta features in the top 50 in the world on SoundCloud in the news and politics category for podcasts. So do subscribe and see what you're missing, because when the public pays, the public is served. When advertisers pay, advertisers are served. Subscribe, help keep news independent and free.
All News Laundry podcasts are available on iTunes and Stitcher and any other podcast platform.